Hello again, Shannon with Stack of Stones, back for the third part of our four-part training on resilience routines. If you haven't watched the other two, go do that because they build on each other. And for those of you that have watched, quick review. So we covered the goal. The goal of our resilience routine is not happiness, it's connection. We're going to get there by iterating. Then on our last training, we looked at who you are as an individual, specifically what is congruent to you and who you are, what your vert needs are, and then what your sensory needs are. And I know that I'm essentially just giving you a bunch of pieces right now, and you're like, this doesn't look like a plan. It's okay. Don't worry, it'll come together. But we need all the different pieces in order to actually build a plan. Today, we're going to talk about a couple of different areas that are absolutely integral to your plan. And the first one is basics, right? And basics is what I use to cover everything like hydration, nutrition, exercise. At the end of the day, no matter how lovely your plan is, if you're not drinking enough water or getting protein and nutrients, you're not going to do well. Like our bodies, there are just things our bodies need. We can't get around it. We have to drink water. We can't just drink energy drinks, okay? If we aren't getting these things in place, then I don't want you to work on the others. We've got to start with your basics. So I'm going to do a really quick run through. You know how to do this stuff. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it. But what I mean by basics is hydration. Our bodies are hydrated. Nutrition. Our bodies are getting the nutrients they need. Again, we're not aiming for perfection here, okay? So yes, do I want kale in your diet? Absolutely. Do I also want you sometimes eating queso? Absolutely. Queso is good for our souls. It is science, okay? Bad for our butts, good for our souls. Sometimes we choose soul. So when I say you need to be hydrating and exercising, please say that I'm not saying you need to be some perfect fitness model. Not at all. I'm just saying that we need to be doing generally okay. Exercise, as you know, has a huge impact on our mental health. We need to be getting those hits of endorphins. We need to be moving our butts, getting our blood flowing. All that stuff's super important. The thing with exercise is do something you enjoy. Okay, so I came to this realization a long time ago. You might have heard me talk about this before. I, Shannon Mead, am not made for yoga. I've got super short arms. I'm just generally small and stocky, and I hate it. Every time I do yoga, I feel angry. It doesn't make me feel calm and relaxed. I don't understand that piece of it for everybody else. And I decided, why do I keep trying to do this? Okay? Do what you like. If you hate jogging, okay, go walking, right? I love to walk. I love to hike. We have a rowing machine. I really enjoy rowing, okay? The thing about exercise is if you keep trying to force yourself to use motivation and energy on something you hate, you're using up energy and motivation you could use elsewhere. Do something you like, okay? I'll get off my soapbox now. If you love yoga, yay, good for you. It's very good for you. I can't. Okay? I also want you getting fresh air and sunshine, okay? Especially if you work graveyard. It's hard, right? It's a lot harder to get fresh air and sunshine, but our bodies need it. And if we go back to that idea of the goal being connection, being connected to the bigger picture of nature, being outside, watching things grow, watching animals play, it is so deeply important to our health and well-being, okay? Get outside. And then finally, healthcare, right? So if we're not taking care of our medical needs, we're not going to the dentist and stuff, it can have a very adverse impact on our mental health. Okay, that's it. You know how to do all these things, but this is just your reminder that if we're not doing the basics, then we can't do the other pieces of the plan. The second part of today's training is way more fun, and that is this idea of play. Okay, and play sounds childish, but there is a lot of research that shows that play is actually super healing to our central nervous system. There's research that shows that our synapses actually heal and recover from stress and trauma when we play. And this doesn't mean I need you to get out the Barbies or go play on the swings. That's not what I mean at all. I'll kind of go into the different areas of play. But the reason play is so essential to our plan is, one, the science tells us it's good for us. But then if you go back to how I said the goal is to stay connected to who you are and your sense of self, play is absolutely essential. It's also one of the places we tend to feel really connected to the people around us. And play often feels frivolous. It feels unnecessary. So again, going back to how we become responsible grown-ups, we do all kinds of responsible things, we tend to squeeze play out of our schedules and our budgets. We don't invest in it the way we need to. This is me telling you that if you want to stay healthy and well, you've got to play. So let's talk about what play is. So first of all, play is any place that we're really feeling a sense of like laughter, connection to others, stuff like that. So however that works out for you, good, works for me. Couple specific categories is games and sports, right? So if you like to be on the softball team with your buddies, if you like to play board games with your friends, if you like to play video games, those are all forms of play. I will say specifically with video games, we want to be careful, right? Because there's a point where they're connecting and good, and then there's a point where it's how we stay disconnected and how we kind of go into our shell. So just pay attention. I'm going to put exercise in here, like if you have determined that you're super introverted and high sensory and you love to go for a jog, right? You love that sensory input of your feet on the pavement. Just because that's something that you do on your own doesn't mean it's not play. That's perfectly great. Keep doing that, okay? Okay, games and sports, creativity and exploration. So there's all kinds of stuff under this category. This could be anything from like art. So if you like to paint, if you like to play the guitar, arts and music are huge. This could be just going and watching a band. This could be cooking and baking. So one of my favorite things to play is cooking. And I need to make sure in my routine that I'm prioritizing time to really cook and enjoy the process. This could be something like brewing beer, right? Anything where you're creating something, that's a form of play. Being outside, this could be working in the garden. This could be working on a car. That's all play. This could be travel in restaurants, right? That idea of exploring, trying new things. If you like to go try a new restaurant, try a new type of food, all of that is really, really good. It's engaging our brain in a different way. Okay. And then stories and laughter. So this could be watching movies, reading books. This could be sitting around shooting the shit and telling stories, right? A lot of us like to go get happy hour after work and just sit around and tell stories and laugh. Super, super important piece of play. Okay. So anything where you are creating or you are enjoying, a lot of these you can tell really have a sensory input. Some of them are getting you outside. I want you to limit how much of your play involves a screen. Generally, if you think about kids, if they're watching a screen all the time, they are not playing and using their imaginations. Yes, you're an adult. We're not going to be playing with Barbies, but that sense of being creative and using your imagination is so important to your well-being. Okay. And then the final piece of play is the idea of rest. So I want you to think about this idea of passive attention. And that's when we're doing something that is pretty mindless. So for most of us, this has turned into scrolling social media, right? It's passive. We're not really engaged in it, but we are paying attention. Social media is probably the most harmful form of passive attention there is, and we need to shift that to other things. Social media has this undercurrent of competition. There's a lot of political blah, blah on there. It's just not generally a healthy place. Instead, I would like you to be doing something like, it's going to sound really lame, but seriously, go to the dollar store and get a word search book and do it for 15 minutes. It's silly, it's stupid, but it gives your brain a chance to recover. There's a lot of studies out there about how we've lost boredom, and boredom is really tied to mental well-being. So doing something that seems silly and boring is actually really important. You don't have to do it for 3 hours. Just give yourself a break. Some other examples of passive attention are watching birds. Okay, so this is kind of silly, but sometimes just sitting in the yard and watching what's going on out there, watching the birds, watching the animals, watching, like, if you want to watch videos of cats, I don't care. It's just stuff that doesn't require a lot of brain space, allows your brain to rest for a little bit. Those are the kind of things that kind of bring that stress and anxiety level down. Okay? That's it. In order to have a strong resilience routine, you need the basics and you need play. My hope is at the end of this, you're kind of thinking about all these different options and things you can do. Please don't feel overwhelmed. In our fourth and final video, we're going to get specific about how you integrate them in a way that's actually doable. I know you're busy. I know you're overwhelmed with life, so I'm not going to expect you to spend 3 hours engaged in play activities every day. We're going to build a reasonable plan. Right now, I just want you kind of in that brainstorming place. Okay? Talk to you soon.